Today we're taking a look at these NFL matches, which are happening on Sunday, January 1st, 2023, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. Also, check out our perks and join the High Stakes membership. Joining the High Stakes membership is easy, is cheap, but it will help a lot in the growth process of this channel. Plus check out our Patreon in the link down below if you want access for our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our games for today, make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. One more thing before we start, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions, and check out High Stakes DFS Strategy if you are into lineup picks, analysis, and advice for DFS. You will find links for both channels in the description and comments section below. Pittsburgh Steelers vs Baltimore Ravens. The Pittsburgh Steelers come into this matchup with a record of 7-8 for this season. The last time they stepped on the gridiron, the Steelers faced the Raiders and earned the victory with a final of 13-10. Kenny Pickett connected on 26/39 with 244 yards through the air and 1 TD. He had a quarterback rating of 81.6 and ended the game with 1 interception. Pat Freiermuth had an average of 9.4 yards per reception by notching 66 yards on 7 catches. Najee Harris led the offense in rushing for the Steelers with 16 totes for 53 yards, 3.3 yards per attempt. Overall, they tallied 66 plays which gave them 350 yards. The Pittsburgh Steelers ended up running the ball 27 different times and accumulated 106 yards, which came out to an average of 3.9 yards per tote. On the ground, the Steelers gave up 58 yards on 19 tries, which is an average of 3.1 yards per rush surrendered. Pittsburgh gave up 16 completions on 30 tries for 143 yards and a completion rate of 53.3%. In terms of scoring, the Pittsburgh Steelers are sitting at 17.6 points per contest. As a team, they average 115.4 yards in the run game, which has them sitting 18th in the league. The Steelers currently have 4,800 total yards for this campaign. Pittsburgh has a total of 170 first downs as a team, and they have been called for 84 penalties for 648 yards. They have surrendered the ball 18 times, 14 picks and 4 fumbles lost. When it comes to scoring touchdowns, Pittsburgh has earned 10 touchdowns via the pass and 14 rushing touchdowns. The Steelers rank 13th in the NFL in relation to their opponent's scoring, allowing 21.3 ppg. The opposition is running for an average of 4.0 yards per rush and 105.6 yards on the ground per game for the season. In total, they have conceded 1,584 rushing yards through 15 games. In terms of passing yards, the Steelers have surrendered 3,486 yards, which puts them in 23rd in the National Football League. They have conceded 232.4 yards per contest through the air, in addition to conceding a completion percentage of 60.8%. Overall, they have surrendered 338.0 yards game, which has them sitting 18th in the National Football League. They have allowed 26 touchdowns by air, in addition to 7 touchdowns running the ball. Without Jackson, the Ravens are more one-dimensional than ever before and rely heavily on their ground attack. Unfortunately for Baltimore, they are facing a Steelers team that has become increasingly stingy against the run. Pittsburgh has allowed under 100 yards per game on the ground over the last 3 and will likely force Huntley to beat them through the air. When the Ravens throw, they look to Mark Andrews. The Steelers are ranked 10th in the NFL against the tight end in terms of production. For Pittsburgh, they will likely need to win this game through the air. In the last 3 games, the Steelers' passing attack has been the most productive that they've been all season. Look for Pickett to exploit the Ravens secondary, particularly with his wideouts, as the Ravens have struggled against quality wide receivers this season. Expect this game to be a smash-mouth affair between 2 teams that know each other, perhaps better than any 2 teams in the NFL. Pittsburgh is better equipped to pull out this win. Our team pick is take Pittsburgh plus 2.5 points. The Ravens head into this matchup 10-5 for this season. The last time they stepped on the gridiron, the Ravens went home victorious with a score of 17-9 when they played the Falcons. Gus Edwards ran the ball 11 times for 99 yards, finishing the contest with 9.0 yards per carry for Baltimore. Mark Andrews was one of the featured targets for the Ravens, catching 3 throws for 45 yards, 15.0 yards per reception. Tyler Huntley, 1 TD, walked away from the game with 115 yards on 9/17 through the air, while his quarterback rating was 94. He didn't toss any interceptions, and his average yards per attempt was 6.8 yards. Baltimore gave up 33 run attempts for 115 yards, 3.5 yards per rush. The Ravens' passing defense conceded a completion percentage of 66.7%, relinquishing 212 yards on 22 for 33 through the air. The Ravens finished the contest with 299 yards, while they ran 51 plays, 5.9 yards per play. Baltimore rushed the football for 5.4 yards per carry, finishing the contest with 184 yards on 34 attempts. Pittsburgh will be facing a short-handed Baltimore Ravens team and must come up with points to win on the road. Pittsburgh is averaging only 17.6 points per game, which is 29th in the NFL. Pittsburgh is 18th in rushing yardage with an average of 115.4 yards per game and 24th in passing with an average of 204.6 yards per game, resulting in a total of 320.0 yards of total offense per game, which is 23rd. Rookie quarterback Kenny Pickett has thrown for 2,041 yards with 5 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Najee Harris has rushed for a team-best 843 yards with 6 touchdowns, and Deontay Johnson, who is questionable, is the leading receiver with 809 yards, while George Pickens has 700 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. At the time of publication of this article, it remains unknown whether or not Lamar Jackson will start on Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Baltimore is scoring an average of 21.4 points per game, which is 15th in the NFL. The Ravens are averaging 166.0 yards rushing, which is second best, and 176.3 yards passing, which is 28th. Baltimore gains 342.3 yards of total offense per game, which is 17th. Lamar Jackson has passed for 2,242 yards with 17 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, while backup Tyler Huntley has passed for 528 yards with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Jackson is the leading rusher for the Ravens with 764 yards, while J.K. Dobbins has rushed for 427 yards. Mark Andrews has a team-best 747 yards receiving with 5 touchdowns. The Baltimore Ravens maintain an average of 342.3 yards per contest, which ranks them 17th in the league. They maintain an average of 166.0 yards per game on the ground and have rushed for 2,490 yards overall. The Baltimore offense has 626 yards of penalties on 73 violations, which ranks 30th in the league in terms of giving up free yards. They have thrown 10 interceptions while allowing opponents to recover 6 fumbles, and they have been able to obtain 129 first downs. During this campaign so far, the Ravens have compiled 2,644 passing yards, not to mention holding an average of 176.3 passing yards per game, which has them ranked 28th in the NFL. When it comes to their ability to score points, the Ravens currently rank 15th in the league with an average of 21.4 points per game. The Ravens are giving up 18.1 PPG, which has them sitting 3rd in the league. They have surrendered 18 touchdowns through the air and 239.5 yards per outing, which puts them in 24th in football. This year, they have allowed 272 total points. Baltimore has surrendered a total of 1,313 yards via the ground game, 87.5 yards per outing, and 10 touchdowns on the ground for the year. The Ravens' defense has been on the field for 913 plays, which ranks 7th in football. Their defense has compiled 24 takeaways, 10 fumbles and 14 interceptions for the season. When these two AFC North rivals meet on the gridiron, the total has finished under in each of the last 4 games, as well as in 6 of the last 8 games that Pittsburgh has played in Baltimore. Pittsburgh is scoring an average of only 17.6 points per game and allows a respectable 21.3 points per game, while Baltimore is scoring an average of just 21.4 points per game and allowing an average of just 18.1 points per game. In the first meeting of the season between the two, a total of just 30 points was scored in a 16-14 victory by Baltimore. Our total pick is to take the under 36.5 points.